since Spaces is now a member of the Ministry of Retro Gaming. Sonic the Hedgehog. Let's play.
Since Spaces.
G'day invaders, welcome to Since Spaces, and we continue our look at the Sega Mega Drive Ultimate Collection on the Xbox 360. It is also available on the PlayStation 3. Coming soon there will be another compilation game coming out from Sega. It's going to be available on the PlayStation 4 and also on the Xbox One and Steam. Sorry Switch owners, no announcements yet, but I'm sure that there will be something down the pipeline for you guys. But yeah, I've been looking at this particular compilation though for the last year on this channel, and I'm finally up to Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm fanboying out right now because Sonic is a game that's been very special to me, a character in particular that's been special to me in my gaming life. I've covered that issue on my channel in the past, but for those of you who are new to my channel, I used to work at Sega, and Sonic the Hedgehog was just a character that captured my imagination from the very, very first time that I saw that game. Again, if you don't know, I was actually invited by Sega back in the 90s, in 91, to look at Sonic the Hedgehog before it was actually released to the public. So that's something that I will never forget. But I've actually never really covered Sonic on my channel. I've done the very first video I did on my channel was dedicated to Sonic Gems, and I actually don't think I've touched Sonic since, to be quite honest. I have touched Sonic in the Lego's Adventures, the Lego Dimensions games, but yeah, never the actual Sonic games themselves. Yeah, so here we go, Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Mega Drive. I'm looking forward to this. This is going to be cool. Let's go. Right, Sonic the Hedgehog for the Sega Genesis / Mega Drive / the 16-bit blast processing box. And we see here that it came with, on the 10th anniversary, Sega released the 10th anniversary Sonic Adventure 2 for the Sega Dreamcast, and I've got that anniversary pack. Also, it says here that the characters of Sonic the Hedgehog and Dr. Robotnik / Dr. Eggman were designed by former Sega employee Naito Oshima. And a little trivia fact, I'm actually followed on Twitter by Naito Oshima, so yay me. And also in the Sonic the Hedgehog animated series, Sonic was voiced by Jaleel White, who was famous for being Steve Urkel back in the day. Anyway, enough of that useless trivia. Sega. Now, just on that Sega jingle that you hear, that dates back to about 1983 in Japan. We never got to hear that in the West. And the reason why you hear me say Sega and not Sega is that here in Australia and also New Zealand, that's how we pronounced it. We had no way of knowing that the pronunciation that we had was in fact incorrect. And I get a lot of comments every time I make a video from... I would love to call them idiots, but they're ill-informed, is probably a better way to put it. They go, well, at the start of Sonic, you hear the word Sega being said Sega. It's like, well, I've been a Sega fanboy since way before I even got to hear this, because on the SC3000 Sega computer, there was no speech. You never heard speech. I did hear some test demo programs with speech, but nothing showing the word Sega. So there you go. I just thought I'd get that out of the way. I say Sega because that's how we were pronouncing it here in this country and in New Zealand. Sonic the Hedgehog on the Sega Mega Drive / Genesis / 16-bit blast processor power machine. I'm going to go for a quick time here, and while I'm doing this, I'm just going to let you know that when I was in high school, I was writing my own Oh, come on. I was writing my own magazine, is what I'm trying to say, called the Sega Times. And I got invited, there goes another few seconds lost. I got invited by Sega to come in and have a look at this new mascot that they're going to be releasing. They said, this is going to be a Mario beater. 30 seconds, that's pretty damn decent, I reckon. Not a bad effort. And they said, come in and check out what's going to be huge. This is going to be massive. And I already knew about Sonic coming out. Oh, that's so embarrassing. Anyway, they said, come in and check out this game. And I knew that Sonic was going to be big, but I didn't know to what level. I just knew about its existence, that it was being developed. But I had no idea. Nothing prepared me because the screenshots that I had seen, well, there was no screenshots. The only hint that this character was coming was from Radmobile. That was the first appearance of Sonic the Hedgehog. And it was just as a fluffy dice little toy hanging from the rearview mirror. And the only other screenshots or any kind of hint was a screenshot of Alex Kidd in Enchanted Castle and showing the hedgehogs in that. So when I first got put into this room and they showed me this ROM board, which was the first time I'd ever seen something like that. It wasn't a regular cartridge. And then I got to see this screen for the first time of Green Hill Zone. It was like, oh my god, this is so cool. I just loved the design. Oh, you can't spin dash. But yeah, when I saw the design of the grids, the background, everything was popping, the music was awesome. This game really did hit the mark back in the day. It's not without its faults. Like you can see it's struggling there when poor Sonic gets beaten up. I can dash through that, can't I? There we go. So it's not a game without its flaws, but having said that, you can look past most of the flaws. I was supposed to hit that. There we go. You know, we used to get phone calls on how to beat this first boss. I'm serious. In the hotline, we actually got people calling up because they couldn't beat Robotnik in the first level. This is like one of the easiest bosses in any game. I think just people who are new to games just had no idea that you could actually hit him and cause damage. I got a suspicion that a lot of people that phoned up were just phoning up out of curiosity. Is there real people answering, and is it not just machines or something, or recorded messages? So yeah, that's Green Hill Zone. One of the most iconic stages in any level in history, besides maybe Mario 1.1. Now, I always kind of disagreed with this being the second level, because it kind of slows the game right down after it being fast, and introduces more sort of, not puzzle elements, but tricky platforming elements. Oh, that was not a smart thing to do. I was, yeah, just going in for that. What a waste of time that was. Now you got to remember, I haven't played this because in a long time, because quite frankly, I don't play Sonic that often. I just love the character. It's not that I hate the game, I just find it a bit tedious, to be honest. I just love the character design and always have. In fact, I don't actually have any tattoos, but if I was to get a tattoo, it will be of this guy. See the puzzle elements. There was puzzle elements. You had to learn how to push that onto the switch. So as I said, Sonic 1 wasn't without its flaws. It was a little bit janky on the hit detection. Like you see him standing on the edge of a block thinking that he's going to fall into the lava, but he's actually not going to fall in. But because he's on the edge of a block, a recognized block, they just throw that animation in. Come on. But you can see what I mean about this level being a bit tedious. And also, you gotta remember, no save back then. This game did not come with a save feature, which I think rings everywhere, which I think was in hindsight a huge error. And basically the gamers got ripped off by not having a save feature in Sonic 1. Just saying, it would have made the game a lot more. It would have made it a 9 or a 10 out of 10. I think it lost points for a couple of little elements of the game. But for a character debut, I can't help but think that Sonic... how did I survive? Sonic, his creation, the first game being released, everything, it was a perfect storm. Everything just worked out. I mean, we all know now the stories about how it was originally meant to be a rabbit, and there was a competition being held for candidates for the next mascot for the company, for Sega. That was not intelligent. This was cool, this little moment where you gotta outrun the lava. I can imagine kids getting freaked out when they were only like, I don't know, 6 or something. And this is another thing that really makes me feel old. A lot of people, this was their first game ever. Sorek Space on my channel for the podcast said that, yeah, Sonic 1 and Sonic 2 was the first games he ever got to play, own. Oh, you're kidding. Really missed the speed dash. I don't need that speed right there, thank you. Oh, wow. But yeah, it really makes me feel old when I hear people talking about how this was their first game ever, and I was ready to work in Sega just, wow, 6 months after I think it was released that I started working for the company. And I've got to tell you, Sonic Mania is pretty much, it's realizing what Sonic was meant to be without the hardware limitations that they were suffering with back in that era. As for Sonic's actual character, hate those things. Hey, get away. The Japanese came up with what I thought was an awesome character, and then I really didn't agree with the fact that they made so many changes. And they have, and I've forgotten her name, but the lady from Sega of America making a lot of changes. She probably made a lot of really good changes, this, as they call it, to soften the character. But I thought that the character's hard edge was what made the character appealing. I really don't like those damn things. And I've just lost a lot of points because of that. Hey, go back, go back. Miss Spin Dash. Can't believe Spin Dashes weren't in the first one. It's amazing how easy you forget that all these features we just come to know and love we take it for granted is what I'm getting at. What you could do is leave a comment below. Let me know. Did you own Sonic the Hedgehog back in the day? Or were you too young to have played it, let me know. Make me feel old. Go son, go son. A lot of time wasting. The music was iconic. I don't know, I just don't understand how they got the music so right straight away. And here's a little trivia note. The music in the very first level, the now classic Green Hill Zone music, Sega don't actually own the right to that. Isn't that awesome? That they don't own the right to their own the most iconic thing that they've ever put out, and they don't own the rights to it. That's insane. I do. What is he, a seal? I love that. Oh no, the seal died. That was one thing that was funny about this. You save the animals and it's only for them to die of natural causes. Yeah, so this game, when it came out, you know, in 2018, it's hard to explain to the younger gamers out there just how important and how different and how epic this game was compared to anything else that was out at the time, including Mario. Now, Mario, I'm not taking anything away from Mario. Oh, come on. Oh, if you missed that, you're pretty much doomed down here. Not fun. But back to my point, just the level design. The character himself looks so cool. We all know the story. He's a mix between the attitude of Bill Clinton, the just do it sort of approach. Not getting political, but yeah, I found that an interesting choice of an interesting choice for someone to be influenced by. Then you got Michael Jackson's shoes and moves, and Mickey Mouse. Well, I'd like to argue that it was actually Felix the cat, because we all know that. Oh no! Oh, secret! How cool is that? I needed that. Well, that's a cool little shortcut. Just found that by fluke, and almost died because of my impatience. You just realise as soon as you get to the second level, this game's not going to be a walk in the park. And the boss level fight. Oh, gee, you're kidding me. Alright, you only got one ring. Good luck. Not the hardest boss. And I think Sonic 1, it was almost complete as a complete product, but I think it was more like a prototype for what was to come. Sonic 2. Sonic 2 was by far the more perfect, or the more rounded product, I should say. Nice. That's it. Just seemed like the area design was a little bit weird in some cases. Like things like that, you'd expect to find something more significant. For the amount of effort that they would have had to go to build a little hidden area like that, I don't know. Oh yeah, another thing I forgot to mention. One of the cool things about Sonic, compared to other games at the time, yes, he introduced the idle animation. Now, if you sit there and leave it for 10 minutes, you die, you lose a life. Because he gets bored and he goes... I'm not sure if it's this one, but there was a version where he says, I'm out of here. I think that was Sonic CD. Oh, these stages really annoy most people, including myself. Yeah, of course, why not? Oh, that was janky. What a waste of a bonus life that was. So when I first started working at Sega, this game was in full flight, but a version of Sonic that, or something that people don't talk about enough, is how big the Game Gear and Master System version was. It was actually, in many ways, just as important a release as the Mega Drive version. Oh, you are kidding me. And here in Australia, Master System was a huge console. Not so much in the States, of course. That was... Sorry, everyone in the United States from that era, you guys missed out. You were missing out on a console that was offering just as much, if not in some cases more, than what the NES was offering. Clearer graphics, an extensive range of games in its own right. That was a weird sound to it that time. Yeah, I think the Master System was way undersold in the West, except for Australia and New Zealand. And Master System did alright in the UK as well, from what I remember. Oh, I remember the first time that I played this game, that drop, that made me feel like, oh my god, when you see Sonic start to fall off the camera. That was done really cool, actually. So yeah, playing Sonic the Hedgehog on the Mega Drive way back led me to a huge lifetime worth of collecting. And I haven't got anywhere near as many memorabilia as some people have got. I've seen one or two collectors in particular who are absolutely nutty when it comes to collecting Sonic merchandise. I'm just saying it because I'm totally jealous of the stuff that they've got, including one lady I've seen. Oh no! Oh, I thought I was going to get squished. One lady I've seen, she's actually got I guess you could say, life-size statue of Sonic in her room. Yeah, that's pretty cool. But a bit weird. Imagine explaining that to future boyfriends that come over to her place. Oh yeah, I just got this thing for Sonic. I knew you had a thing for Sonic. I didn't know it was like on that level, sorry. Yes, the frustration continues. I can certainly see why people hated playing this game. And that will do me, I think. Alright, so that's been my look at Sonic the Hedgehog. And yeah, it's a game that really does get me right here in the feels. I know not everyone is a big Sonic fan, and I totally get that. And I know there's a lot of Mario fans out there that love Mario for what it is. And I look at Mario as just a really good game series that has really awesome level design and has held and stood the test of time. But there was once this little part in history where another company came along and said, you know what, I think we can do that too, and we can almost beat you. And for a little short moment in history, they did, and that was Sega with Sonic the Hedgehog. It's a very historical game in that it did take on the big boys at the time and beat them at their own game. But that's not why I remember it. I remember it just simply because it introduced a character for me that I figured was awesome. I knew Sega were a company that was capable of a lot more than what they were showing, and when they released Sonic the Hedgehog, it was like, okay, finally, we knew this was coming, and now they've finally hit all guns blaring into one title, and they focused all their energy and effort into this one title. So yeah, from that point of view, for me, that was why I liked this game back in that era. But coming up in this series next is my look at Sonic the Hedgehog 2. And that's a much more significant release for me for many reasons, and I'll go into those more in the next video. In the meantime, I'd like to thank all my patrons, including the new guy on the block, which is Joyful Swan. Thanks for joining up as a patron, and to all the other patrons, a big special shout out to you guys. You make my channel just that little more special to put together. And also don't forget to like and subscribe. There is a lot of things coming up on the channel, including the podcast, which is coming up around the corner again. Wow, the month is just moving right along, isn't it? Until the next video, my name has been Brian. I've been gaming since Spacies. Thanks guys.
Since Spacies.